Okay, so today marks the 5th day of Sean Diddy Combs' trial. Cassie is still on the witness stand. This, I believe, is her 3rd day testifying.
Yep.
And she's been handed over from the prosecution to the defense, so they've been really just kind of like hammering home certain points. You know, yes, we admit he's an abusive piece of shit. However, the charges are, racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution and sex trafficking. So they're trying to say that one doesn't equal the other. The one thing that I want to, kind of highlight is how consistent she has been with her testimony. She's been delivering her testimony with a very just the facts, ma'am kind of tonality, which I think is really important because obviously the questions that she's being asked to relive trauma, and she's being asked to read text messages that seemingly contradict her claims, and she's still doing it in a very succinct, very matter-of-fact manner.
And first and foremost, doing it while eight and a half months pregnant.
I was about to say that. So the prosecution has now brought up a point to the judge, and they said this last night. They said that the defense is purposefully asking redundant questions over and over and over again to try to see if she won't go into labor, which will then, a mistrial will have to be called.
I call 100% cap on that. If there's one team that does not want her to go into labor, it's the defense team. I think the defense feels that she is pivotal, like vital to whatever it is they need to prove. I think they've said she's the most important person in the case that we're trying to present. Yeah. I don't think they want her to go into labor.
Okay. And I think we saw that in the cross-examination yesterday. Because what she read in the cross-examination, because like you said, they forced her to read the text out loud.
Yeah.
I think at the very least they want to rattle her, because if you're rattled, you're not going to do as well in the chair. That's the idea.
Right.
But some of the stuff she had to read out loud, particularly the one from August 2009, when Puff asked her when she wanted the next sex encounter to be, and she replied, "I'm always ready to freak off."
Okay.
And then 2 days later, she sent him an explicit message. She wrote back. He liked it, and then she responded, "Me too. I just want it to be uncontrollable." And so the defense is going to try to say that that's evidence that there was no coercion, that there was no control, that she just is a freak like him, and they doing freaky shit, and whatever else is going on, there's no charge there with that. And the prosecution is going to have to prove that despite those texts, there was coercion, or because of those texts, there was coercion. Like she had to write that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's a battle. So I agree. I think the the defense wants Cassie in that chair. That's the easiest. It's going to be hard because we know Dawn Richard is going to hit the stand next,
and Aubrey O'Day.
Aubrey O'Day,
and
Jane
then
Doe.
They're going to come for blood.
Yeah, they know, and they kind of know what they're getting there.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Cassie's the most vulnerable for this because she's the one who's been there the longest, right? And it's harder to.
And she sets the stage for everything.
Absolutely.
She's the one that was
Triggered everything. She triggered the whole thing.
She did.
Yeah.
She did. And so, there's a term that keeps coming up right now, and it's Stockholm Syndrome. And I think that it's applicable in this kind of situation. It's dependent on what you believe. And apparently, there is a lot of protesting going on at the courthouse right now. It is a madhouse. Media, protesters on both sides of the aisle. It's complete and total chaos down there. There's people chanting in support of Diddy. There's people who are chanting in support of their pursuit of justice, whatever that looks like. But it's just literally like what you believe. Do you believe that she's a victim and that she figured out a long time ago, based on his enforcers, his enforcement of the imprisoned life that she was forced to lead, that she just said some things to get along because you want to make your captor happy. You don't want to piss them off, kind of thing.
They named a lot of times where she wasn't captive, though.
I think that what people need to understand of what captivity actually looks like, because captivity is not just physical. Especially if you've been abused for a really long amount of time, there is an erosion of your sense of free will.
I agree. I mean,
You
look
know?
at kidnapped kids. Sometimes they get sent to the store, they come back to the kidnap. They don't run, they go back home again.
Okay, I want to let the audience know from this point forward, you might hear an opinion that contrasts from you guys'.
Absolutely,
sure.
there should be.
I
It's
just want
discourse.
to let people know.
Yeah. So
It's difficult to say that, what y'all are saying, when she eventually ended up not only escaping, but escaping with one of the handlers and paid with Puff's credit card.
okay.
It's tough to paint you as someone that was trapped when we're going to throw all these instances where you seemingly were away and you left for good. So if you were able to leave for good at one point, then what happened at all these other points of exit?
I can't speak on what.
And again, neither am I. I'm not inserting my opinion in this. Like Mel said, this is going to come down to, well, so far, because I do think that the feds are going to prove their case. Like, let me start with. Not only do I think the feds are going to prove their case, but I think that the requirement, the standard is so low for what they have to prove.
Yeah.
They may have already proven it. I want to say that. But I don't think Cassie looked the greatest during Cross. So this comes down to, do you believe that she was being sex trafficked, or do you believe that she was in an abusive, drug-infested, toxic relationship?
I think.
Go
Go ahead.
I think it is the sex trafficked part. Part of it being because she was his employee, not just his girl. So that I'm controlling your finance. There's the coercion part. I'm paying you. We went over the definitions, the three things that have to be hit for it to be sex trafficking. One of them being a commercial sex act. There is the hiring of the escorts and transporting them in or to wherever they were. So that is that part. The coercion is if I am in control of basically your money, I got you under contract, you can't do this, you can't do that as far as your music goes, and I'm paying you, there is some level of control there, which could lead to the coercion point. So I think they got him already on the sex trafficking part, personally.
I can't hear you.
No.
You saying something, Flip?
First and foremost, I want to say that what didn't work in Cassie's favor is Puff lawyer Estiva, I think that's her name. She was extremely gentle with Cassie, right? Extremely, and they shared laughs and understanding. I think that may work in the favor of Puff, you know, because a lot of lawyers, they come in, they try to hammer you down and force you to answer questions. So she was gentle with her, and they got on the same accord. But also what I think is that when I listen to this or read on it, like Joe said, Cassie has gotten away a couple of times to even get into a couple of different relationships. Even when she was with Kid Cudi, she still reached out to Puff and was talking about she wants to participate in Freak Off. So these things right now are, I don't want to say smoking gun, but contradicts what the feds are saying or some of the accusations. Mel, do you agree?
Well, I just want to make a point to say that there have been times where actual kidnapped victims, like Elizabeth Smart, where her captor allows her to like go to the store or be out in public. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is somebody who.
But she wasn't kidnapped.
No, I'm using an extreme example to demonstrate, because everybody keeps saying, well, she got away at times. Do you know how what the statistics say about domestic violence victims? How long it takes for them to actually leave for good?
Yes.
It's usually about 6 to 7 times, 6 to 7 different attempts, and they end up going back. And there's a whole psychology that discusses why do victims keep on going back to their abusers or their captors. And I don't think that the vast majority of us are in a position to even discuss this, because we just don't have that amount of.
See, but that's where the divide is.
I understand that.